Okay, so today's webinar is about how to listen to podcasts. So first off, what is a podcast? Well, a podcast is a series of spoken audio episodes, all focused on a particular topic or theme, like cycling or startups. You can subscribe to the show with an app on your phone and listen to episodes whenever you like on your headphones, in the car, or through speakers. Simply put, a podcast is an audio program just like talk radio, but you subscribe to it on your smartphone and listen to it whenever you like. Listening to podcasts on your smartphone. So to listen to podcasts on your smartphone, you have to first install a Podcatcher. And to download podcasts onto a mobile device, you will need a relevant app known as a Podcatcher. Since there are numerous podcatchers available for both iOS and Android, you'll have many options. As a general rule, though, you should look for podcast apps with wide, expansive libraries, clean interfaces, and easy controls. We have a few suggestions. So for iOS, Apple's newer models actually come with free podcast apps pre-installed. And if you don't have a recent iPhone or iPad, don't worry, as you can download the podcast app from the store free of charge. As well, Overcast is also a great alternative to the default software. And on Android, there's apps like Podcatcher and Dogcatcher range from $3 to $4 and are highly recommended. Stitcher Radio and Podcast and Radio Edition are also both great options for Android, and you can download them in the Google Play Store. And you can also find podcasts on the music streaming platform Spotify. So how to listen to podcasts? First, you're gonna wanna customize your settings. Once you've downloaded a podcatcher of your choosing, you want to make sure that the accessibility settings allow you to download items within the app. So generally, you can do this by accessing the app's restrictions through your phone settings and editing them accordingly to what you want. And then after that, many podcasting apps will also give you the option to download every new episode of a subscription automatically, right? Though this can eat up a lot of hard drive or cloud space quite quickly. Similarly, many podcatchers allow you to customize specific subscriptions, and most come with features such as layout options, whether or not to download new podcasts automatically, and sorting. And then the third step is to search for a podcast. So in your podcatcher, access the search function and browse. If you don't have an idea of what you want to look for, most podcatchers have trending or top tabs within their interface. This is always a good place to start. Once you've found a podcast you like, find a subscribe button in your podcatcher's interface. Often this button will be intuitively designed, a plus sign in the corner, for example, but it will differ from app to app. Then you're going to want to download your podcast. Usually, each individual episode displayed on your podcatcher will have a download sign, a downwards pointing arrow, for example, next to its name. If you've made sure that your podcatcher is allowed access to your hard drive or cloud already, then press the download button. Then, depending on the model of your device, you will have a different default app for playing podcasts. iOS favors iTunes, while Android devices default to music player. Many podcatchers also give you the option of playing your podcast within those apps. So listening to podcasts on your computer. The first step is to download a podcast manager. If you want to listen to podcasts offline, you'll need to download a third-party client to convert URLs into MP3 files. Though there are tons of free cross-platform options, such as Juice, Gpodder, and Zune, all come highly recommended. Another great option is Apple Music, formerly iTunes. Even if you don't have an iPhone or iPad, Apple Music is a great music, video, and podcast manager. Step 2 is to customize your settings. Once you've downloaded your program of choice, Check out your options to customize aspects like file type, download destination, and player preferences. Some managers, such as Apple Music, will allow you to play your podcast within the interface. Step 3 is to search for a podcast. Unlike mobile podcast platforms, your computer gives you freedom to browse any and all podcasts in public record, rather than simply the ones in apps database. Use this to your advantage. Once you settle on a podcast, click on it to view specific episodes. You may have to create an account with the podcast site in order to view specific podcasts. Step 4 is to save your podcast. If you're using a manager like Apple Music or Zune, you can simply click save or get next to the episode's name to save it to your computer. Otherwise, you will need to copy the podcast URL and paste it into your manager. Every manual client differs slightly in its method of downloading, but most use the provided URL to access the podcast feed. You'll want to click the subscriptions tab or its equivalent in your manager of choice. From this step, you can usually download specific episodes. You can click the refresh button to check for new episodes. Step 5, access your podcast. Once you've downloaded your podcast to your chosen file location, play it to make sure it downloaded completely and correctly. Listening to podcasts on Spotify. If you have a Spotify account, you can also use the app to listen to podcasts on your phone or computer. Open the app on your device and click on the podcast tab. Then choose one of the featured podcasts or click to go to browse to check out different genres. Next, simply click on the podcast to listen. To add it to your liked content, click the heart button. Now let's take a small tour of a Podcatcher. So I have the Apple Podcasts app already downloaded onto my laptop. If you want to use a different Podcatcher, you can always just search it on Google and download it that way. So over here, we can see the different tabs, such as the browse and top charts. And so if we go to top charts, we can see different episodes, such as the daily here. And we just click the play button to start it. And then also, if you were to see here, this plus button, if you press this, it's been added to your library. And then after that, you can press this little cloud icon, and this will download it to your computer, which you can listen to later. And then also in this interface, there is a volume scroller up here, which you can use to lower and increase the volume of your podcasts. And there's also different buttons to go back in the podcast. If you miss something, pause the podcast or even go forward. So up here, we can see like the descriptions about what you have playing. So here it tells me that I'm listening to The Daily, which is the podcast that I clicked on before. And then also up here, it'll tell you what different podcasts you've selected to play afterwards, and it'll tell you like what's coming up next. So if we go into here, if we're to search like The Daily, we can see the different results for this. And then here is all of them. Up here, there's a plus subscribe button. So if I were to click this, I'm now subscribed to it, and I'll be able to I'll listen to all the different new podcasts. And then to download, you can see the plus buttons here. So this adds it to the library. And then the second icon, if you click it again, it'll download it. And then you can do that for all the episodes that you want to listen to. So you can unsubscribe if you don't want to listen to it anymore. And then there's also settings here for custom settings that you can have when you're listening. So you can have them play one after another when you're listening in different orders. Um, and then you can also have settings to download them or delete them or delete the podcast that you've already finished listening to. And then there's also limits. You can also limit the episodes to like what you'll see and refresh the episodes to be able to see the new ones. So over here, this is my library. And if I were to click this and click remove, I can remove the download or delete it from my library completely. So if I were to delete it completely, then it'll disappear and it's gone. And then it won't be in your library anymore.
Right, and you can do that with the entire, so if you've subscribed and you have multiple episodes downloaded and you delete from the show level, then it will delete all of your downloaded episodes and remove all references from your library.